Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Doctor Janine Show. I'm Doctor Janine. As you know, thank you for tuning in today, and please say hello and where you are from. I'm going to try to shout out as many people as possible today, and guess what we're talking about? So we've got some great topics that you have requested for. So talking about stress, talking about sleep, and I've got my best sleep tips for you, some of which you may not have heard before, as well as hair growth tips. And we're going to do a little bit of a review of something that we talked about last week, that pregnenolone steal syndrome, and why this is so important as it's related to your cortisol levels and to being able to relax. Now, does anybody know what this part of the brain is? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with your sleep. Does anybody know what that is? Right there. I'm going to give you a couple seconds. Hello, Peter in Australia. Does anybody know what part of the brain this is right here? Sincerely, Reem. This is a very interactive show in case you're here for the first time. So please say hello. Put a 1 in the comments if you're here for the first time. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you share today's live as well. It's so great to have you all here. Thank you for tuning in. We will be having quiz questions throughout the show. We will be playing for a prize. So I'm going to explain that in just a second, and you can win that prize sent free from our, of course, sponsors, Vitatrue Nutritionals Whole Food Vitamins, who sponsor the show. Does anybody know what this part of the brain is? I still don't see it. Please. It has to do with sleep, as a big hint. Hello, hello. Nice to have you here. Pearl, nice to see you. Chaina, hello. Nice to have you. Janet, Joan, Dr. Ranjit is in the house. Thank you for tuning in. Elaine in Calgary, thank you for tuning in, as well as Bahich is here. Hello, Bahich. And Peace Love 4411, good guess. Yes, the doctors are in the house. Let me give some other people a chance. Thank you for answering. All right. Yes, Nadia, you've got it. The pineal gland, yes, has to do with, of course, our sleep, because what is housed there are melatonin levels. We're going to talk all about that and how you get to actually get your melatonin going better on its own with my sleep tips. We're also going to talk about something that's a little bit unfortunate for those of you who love your coffee and your store-bought coffee. The PSL, it is PSL season, pumpkin spice latte. I'm going to talk about fake pumpkin spice latte and what to be aware of, okay? Now, and something that we'll talk about next week as well, which is super exciting. Good morning, Reina. Nice to have you here. Okay, let's get going. And remember, it is a very, actually, let me throw you the brain over here. You can put this back into Lucy over there. Let's get going. So let's talk a little bit about, are we going to pumpkin spice lattes first? All right, yes we are. So did you know that the pumpkin spice latte, the store-bought one, the famous one, unfortunately has a lot of compromising ingredients in it, okay? So a large, or some people call it a grande, pumpkin spice latte has milk, so, and you can choose your milk, we know that, but that pumpkin spice sauce that's in there has a lot of sugar, as well as a preservative that I really want you to be aware of, especially in your vitamins, in juices and things. It's called potassium sorbate, and that is not great for your digestive health, for your microbiome. It can also cause headaches. Potassium sorbate, that's a big, big no-no in my books in terms of something that we should not be ingesting. It's in a lot of supplements, especially liquid supplements that you may purchase as well. So look for that potassium sorbate, as well as the PSL also has things like cream, and it's got some added ingredients in there to help with the texture of the cream, like the mono and diglycerides, but also carrageenan, which we know it's something that I've talked about in other posts. The carrageenan can be very compromising, again, to your gut microbiome, and it's made from seaweed, but then they alter it, and that is something, again, that you want to avoid in your nut milks as well, because it's often in there. It could be in lower fat types of versions of your creams and your dairy products as well, so avoid that carrageenan. It also has vanilla syrup, which we know is super high, and I'm going to tell you how many grams of sugar is in that large pumpkin spice latte. It's frightening in just a second, okay? As well as natural flavors and citric acid, okay? And more potassium sorbate is in the whipping cream. All right, so can we do this in a better and a healthier way? Yes, we can, and that's what I'm going to be sharing my recipe next week, so make sure you tune in next week to the show. And here we go with the amount of sugar in a typical large pumpkin spice latte, 50 grams of sugar. So imagine you're on a low carb diet. Usually you're allowed about 50 grams of carbohydrate for the day. It's in one large pumpkin spice latte. Okay, that's scary. Now next week I'm going to be sharing my low sugar version, which is actually healthy, and we're going to talk about some of the attributes why pumpkin, and coming into season now in some parts of the world, like here in Canada, why it is such a popular and healthy thing to be eating. All right, let's go on over here. Hello, nice to have you, Doctor. Thank you. It's nice to have you here. And Chatsworth, yes, I like your comment. 80% of food is something, and you can look at her or his emoji. Isn't that hilarious? All right, thank you. It's great to have you all here. And thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you for sharing today's live as well. All right, now when we are talking about stress, let's talk a little bit about our cortisol levels. And I'm going to talk about some tips coming up how to reduce our cortisol and lower our stress overall. But what is happening here, and this is something that we talked about last week, and this is pregnenolone steal. So I just want to do a little bit of a review, because this pregnenolone steal syndrome, which I will explain again, is caused by stress, as we know. So our cortisol levels get out of whack. Now there are different types of stress that can cause this, as well as leptin resistance and overall inflammation in the body. These are more causes of this pregnenolone steal. All right, so what are some of these different forms of stress? Let's take a look at them. And I think we're going to talk about this, or we're going to come back to this. All right, so let's talk about, different forms of stress. So whether that's blood sugar imbalances that can cause the stress, as well as emotional stress. So when your emotions are erratic or not balanced, this is another form and could be potentially a cause of that high cortisol and pregnenolone steal syndrome, as well as circadian disruptions. So when your circadian rhythms are out of whack, they're unbalanced, that is another cause. As well as dysbiosis. So you've got some healthy things happening in the gut. So we know that we have both good and bad bacteria in the gut. Now, when we've got dysbiosis, what's happening now is we don't have a good balance. And some of the bad guys, like the intestinal worms, the parasites, the candida, could be outweighing the bad, causing more stress on your system, and could be related, again, to that pregnenolone steal. Okay, so fixing your gut is going to be very important for that dysbiosis, and chronic infections as well can be causing what's going on here. So when we're talking now about pregnenolone, what's happening today. All right, thank you. And all right, let's see pregnenolone steal. Thank you so much. Okay, what are the causes? Again, so we know that it's stress. We know that it's, okay. All right, finally, here we go. All right, so cholesterol is going to be how we are making that pregnenolone. Pregnenolone now, of course, preferentially is going to go towards our cortisol levels, and that cortisol is something that is going to be stealing that pregnenolone. Okay, so this becomes important now. Our downstream hormones like testosterone, estrogen are going to be compromised, and it actually shuts down our thyroid when we have this happening. And you can see how thyroid health, your ability to lose weight or not lose weight, balancing your hormones becomes important when you've got this happening with that pregnenolone steal and making more of that cortisol. Again, even progesterone will be compromised because it's all going and it's getting used up to be able to make more of that cortisol with pregnenolone steal syndrome. Okay, now I will be talking about some tips how to sort of rectify this stress situation that's happening in the high cortisol levels, and cortisol being secreted at wrong times of the day as well. But guess what time it is? It's already quiz question number 1 time. Everybody ready? We're going to be playing for the stress and sleep formula from our great sponsors at VitaTree Nutritionals. Is everybody ready? Okay, if you're new here, please put a 1 in the comments, because you've got to know the rules of the road here. How do we do this? How do we do our quiz questions? Okay, once a quiz question comes up, you're going to have 30 seconds on the clock to answer the question. You just participate. Even if you don't know the answer, you're just going to put your answers into, of course, your comment section, whichever platform you're on. And then everybody who is participating, we gather all those names at the end of the show, and then that is put into a random selector machine thing, and then it selects our winner for every week. And I will be announcing last week's winner, okay? So stay tuned for that. Is everybody ready? Yes, Neri is new here. Regina, hello, nice to see you. Well, welcome on into the show. Sarah, you're new as well. Songbird, Kick Candy is here as well. I don't know if I should have said that out loud, but yes, thank you for tuning in. Love that handle name. All right, is everybody ready? Okay, quiz question number 1, and we're playing for the stress and sleep. Remember, from our great sponsors at VitaTree, we've got 30 seconds on the clock once we see that question come in. All right, here it comes. All right, here we go. Quiz question number 1. It's a true or false. Store-bought pumpkin spice lattes are considered healthy. Just take a guess at it if you are tuning in right now. All right, let's go. Here we go. Good luck, everyone. All right, we got 10 seconds left. Let's see those answers coming in. Of course, this was pretty easy, I believe. Good luck. Good job, everyone. Good job. Okay, everybody got their answers in? Store-bought pumpkin spice lattes, of course, are not considered too healthy. But the good news is next week I'm going to be sharing my healthy recipe, how you can make it at home, save a lot of money, but also cut down the sugar and make it super healthy because of the pumpkin, the actual pumpkin that's in there. All right, now I do want to congratulate last week's winner of the Paravide, and it was Colleen Ann Rose. Congratulations, you were the winner of the Paravide. Make sure that you are following me so that my team can reach out to you and get your address so that we can send that to you. Now, don't forget, we have a couple more quiz questions coming up for today's show. This week, we're playing for the stress and sleep formula from our great sponsors at VitaTree, so we thank them for making the show possible. And let's continue the show. All right, now I do want to call out my viewer spotlight for this week as well. And this was from Marilyn. So Marilyn, thank you so much for saying this. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. Well, I'm always willing and able to share as much as I can, of course, from a natural perspective, and of course, based on all the research that I've done in the truth about how we can really help ourselves from the inside out. All right, now let's talk about stress and cortisol reducing tips. Now, if this is something that you've been told that, you've got to lower your stress levels, we know that the correlations with stress disease, of course, heart disease, and so many different aspects of not doing well with our health, we're going to go through some of my best tips, and this is based on a lot of great research as well. Okay, so one of those things is, of course, number 1 on my list is taking a walk in nature. So this has actually been studied, and in this study it was found that city dwellers were asked to take a 20 to 30 minute walk out of their day and spend time in nature. And then they tested their salivary cortisol levels. So they did the test, they had to spit into a little tube, check their cortisol levels, and it actually helped to lower stress and cortisol levels significantly. So taking little breaks in your day, going for a little walk can do wonders, especially if you have nervousness and maybe panic attacks, you're more anxious. How many people had, anxious thoughts with their kids going back to school? For a lot of us as parents, today was the day here in North America anyways, that a lot of kids went back to school. And I don't know if the parents sometimes have more stress and anxiety than the actual children do going back. Any new situation for some people is difficult, but I hope it was a great day for everyone. Hey, give me, what would be a good school emoji? I don't even know. Give me pens and papers as school emojis. That would be great. A notebook would be great as well. Put that in the emojis, everyone. We'd like to have fun here. What was that? Oh, a schoolhouse. Yeah, if there's a schoolhouse emoji, that would be great. So yeah, anybody who participated in the first day of school events this morning, let me know, or maybe you're not there yet, depending on your time zone, right? Okay, Raina, I see that. Awesome. And Elsie Castles, good job. Okay, number 2 on my list is to do cold water. So when we're talking about putting our face into, I don't know, my ice is missing, but that's okay. So adding ice into our cold water and doing an ice face dunk, this is a fantastic way to be able to actually have an effect on the vagus nerve. Now we know that the vagus nerve is really something that's important in terms of regulating our autonomic nervous system. So all you're going to do is put some ice cubes in your water, and if you don't have access to ice, then just put very cold water into your bowl. Here it is. Okay, I'm waiting for my ice. Here we go. Thank you so much. All right, so ice cubes. One thing, quick hack, if you're having a panic attack, just grab a couple ice cubes, hold them in your hands. It's almost like the brain can't focus in on the anxiety, the panic, at the same time as the fact that your hands are freezing, okay? So that's one aspect. But what some research has shown is that doing either an ice bath, ice cold shower, or a face ice dunk, so putting those ice cubes into some cold water, into a pot, into a big bowl, and then actually dunking your head, I'm not gonna do it in case you were wondering, but actually dunking your head and holding your breath for as long as possible does wonders for your vagus nerve and your vagal tone, okay? So that's something that's actually been studied. I want you to try that. Has anybody tried to do a face dunk before? I've done videos. I posted it probably a couple years ago now. Put some ice cubes or ice emojis in the emojis if you've done ice dunks. You don't have to tell us why, but yeah, it's great for the beauty aspects and the beauty benefits of doing the cold ice dunk as well. But great for that vagus nerve and the vagal tone. Cold showers, TikTok, yes, absolutely. That's a great thing as well. And good for helping with the stress. I'm trying to speak and read the comments at the same time. Okay, great job. All right. Now, make sure that you are subscribed, you are following. It's so great to have you all here today, and hit that share button, everyone. I do have a live goal again on one of the platforms, so please make sure that, I think some commenting, we're going to try to get some, I think it was fire. We need some fire, all right? So on one of the platforms, if you can do that, that'd be great. So we hit that live goal. Okay, now that cold water dunk, great for reducing cortisol and stress levels. All right, number 3 is to do some breath hold work. So if you've not yet seen my podcast with Erwan Lacour, this is amazing. So this has a huge impact on being able to hold your breath, and learning how to do that in a safe way has a great impact, again, on the vagus nerve, reducing cortisol levels, can be really, really helpful in times of stress. And that's something you can do acutely, but you can also do it ongoing so that you have that great balance in your nervous system, okay? So that's important. So check out that podcast. It's called Breath Hold Work. All right, and number 4, of course, is ashwagandha. Now, this is one of my favorite herbal medicines. I will be talking about other ones that are great. Some of 4 of my other favorites besides the ashwagandha for stress and cortisol levels. But these are all adaptogenic herbs. And ashwagandha is adaptogenic, meaning that it helps your body adapt in times of stress. And that's one of the things why it relaxes your nervous system. It was the most sought after herbal medicine in terms of information, actually purchasing it, going back a few years now when everybody was in lockdowns, everybody was stressed out, and we didn't know what was happening in the world, okay? So ashwagandha, huge, huge impact on your nervous system. Love it. It's also great for thyroid health, balancing the thyroid. And Yasmin, you do the ice cubes on your face every morning. I'm so happy. That is amazing. All right. It's so good, so good. All right. So let's continue now. And we're at quiz question number 2. So if you did want to screenshot that, I hope you got it. I can come back to it in terms of the tips for the cortisol in just a second. But we're at quiz question number 2 time. Okay. So we're playing for the stress and sleep formula from our great friends at Vitatree Nutritionals. And are we ready? Okay, this one might be a little bit trickier if you haven't been here before, if this is your first time here, but just try your best. All right, you're gonna have 30 seconds on the clock when we see that question come up. All right, here we go. What do we make more of in pregnenolone steal syndrome? All right, you got 30 seconds on the clock. Good luck, everyone. Let's see how we do here. There was something that I showed. Oh, wow, we're doing well already. Good job, everyone. There was something that I showed, a hormone, that we tend to make more of from the pregnenolone, which comes from cholesterol already, as we know. Good job, everyone. Okay, everybody have it? Okay, so I see all of my OGs who have been with me for years and years here at the show. have answered correctly, of course, and some new people here as well. So thank you for all the follows and for all my new friends who have joined the show for today. We do this every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So thanks for everybody who's participating. Good job. All right, let's reveal, of course, yes, more cortisol. So that becomes important because sometimes you're on this roller coaster and this hamster wheel of stress and cortisol all the time, and it has to do with other factors besides just the stress. It could be because of the inflammation, like we talked about, the causes of pregnenolone steal. It could be because of leptin resistance, and that's why I like to educate you about all of these different topics. All right, continuing on, we will be going into the beauty set in a little while, and we'll be talking about some of the benefits, of course, and how do we grow healthy long hair. And I've got my tips for that. That is coming up. But I do want to say thank you to my super fans. Thank you so much because you're all so generous throughout the shows. And, you know, when I put it out there that please share or please follow, you guys always do it. And you are the best. So many of you during the show and throughout the week as well are very generous in terms of donating to the channel as well, which makes it all possible for me to come and educate you every week. So I truly appreciate you all. Thank you so much. All right, let's talk about some tips now for better sleep. So if you or someone that you know is struggling with sleep, these tips are tried, tested, and true. They are amazing in terms of being able to get that good night's sleep. And a lot of them are based on circadian biology and your circadian rhythms and why it becomes so important to really calm the nervous system down, get your proper secretion of your melatonin, remember, from your pineal gland. All right, here we go. Tip number 1 is make sure it's dark in your environment after dark. So after the sun has set, that is a signal in our eyes, on our skin, to all of our organs that it is nighttime. And now the nighttime hormone, one of them is, of course, melatonin. This is the signaling with the dark now that melatonin needs to be released, okay? So you start to sequester your melatonin throughout the day. It needs to be released from the pineal gland while you sleep when it's dark at nighttime. So if you've got all kinds of lights on in your home, in your office, wherever you're at, driving, you could be anywhere, a bunch of lights on, you've got your screen in your face, right? And that's going to be that blue light is now impacting those signals to your brain saying, oh, it's the middle of the day, there's no need for sleep. This is why it's so important. After the sun has set, it's got to get dark, okay? So that becomes really important. If you do need to have lights on, I do suggest lights that are lower to the ground, not from above, which is like telling your brain that the sun is out in the middle of the day. You don't want that. You want your lights lower to the ground. And if you do need to be on a screen or device, of course, you've got your blue light blocking glasses on. The darker the better. These are not the right ones. The darker the better. So after the sun has set, ideally they're the more amber frames or even the red lenses to really block out that blue light. Very, very important, especially if you're having difficulty sleeping. Okay, tip number 2 is to cool your head. I mean, cool your entire room, cool your entire body. And sleeping in a cool room, and what some of the research shows in terms of brown fat, that 19 degrees Celsius, I don't know what that conversion is, but 19 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit, if anybody can look that up for me, we'll put it in the comments as well. But I think that's what, I don't even want to take a guess at it. It's like 60s something degrees. Okay, anyways, that is, your brain actually has to cool 4 degrees from 66.2 degrees Fahrenheit, thank you so much, is 19 degrees. So that's pretty cool. That's a little bit cooler than what we set our house at. But your brain actually has to cool at bedtime so that you have that proper symphony of all your hormone secretion as you're sleeping. And your brain detoxes as you're sleeping as well. So cooling your head becomes important. So not really covering your head. If you like to sleep under the covers, I like to keep my head out so that it's cooler than the rest of my body, okay? So that, and in a cool room, that's how you want to sleep. Okay, number 3, of course, is something you do in the morning, and that is to look at the sunrise. So that is going to start the proper signaling now, and you start to sequester and make your melatonin for night by seeing that early morning sunlight. I know it sounds backwards, but yeah, you've got to get up with the sun. Very, very important. And you've got to be able to start to make your melatonin throughout the day. All right, and number 4 if you drink any type of caffeine, okay, if you're not sleeping well, you could be very caffeine sensitive. Most people are, okay? And here's the thing, after 10 a.m., because the half-life of caffeine is about 7 hours, so only half of that caffeine that you drank is gone by 5 p.m., then the body needs another 6 to 7 hours to clear the rest of that caffeine before bedtime. So if you're drinking at 12 noon, you're way into the night now for that caffeine to actually have cleared. So that becomes very important, right? If you do consume your caffeine. Now, even if you say, okay, I can have an espresso before bed, it doesn't affect me. Well, it might be affecting your quality of sleep. So maybe you're not able to get into that deep REM sleep, restorative sleep, and the detoxifying sleep that you need for all of your organ systems in your brain. So as much as you think you may not be sensitive, you probably are sensitive, you just don't know it, okay? Number 5 is a silk eye cover. So I love this. This is something that I travel with, and you want to have this with you just to cover your eyes so that it is total darkness. There's often some ambient light coming into rooms through, you know, your blinds in your room, from outdoor lights and things that are on, the street lights. You want to make your room as pitch black as possible. If you can't do that, you're covering your eyes so that your brain believes that it is pitch black at nighttime. Okay, and number 6, and of course I want you to screenshot this list, is you could do a hot shower before bed. Now this is something that I learned from my makeup artist. Now my makeup artist learned this from some models that he used to work with, and he said, you know, models have all crazy different hours in terms of doing their shoots and things, and so often there's difficulty getting to sleep because they're on a high, because it was a great day, whatever. So he said what he learned from the models, these top models, was that they have a super hot shower, don't dry off completely, and then hop into bed. And for whatever reason, that change in temperature, then you're getting into probably, I'm hoping, a cooler environment that is going to help to stimulate that sleep and helps with the temperature drop in your body so that you can secrete that melatonin and have a deep, restful night's sleep. All right, so I hope that you screenshot that really quickly. Thank you so much for everybody who's here today. I'm Dr. Janine. We do this every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do have quiz questions throughout the show, of course, and I believe we have a multiple choice question now coming up. So let's see how smart everybody is on this one. All right, are we ready? We will be talking about hair growth tips in just a few moments. Let's go through our multiple choice. Now, this is interesting. This is based on some of what I've already posted out there. If you saw me on television this weekend, I talked a lot about this, and it's something that, yeah, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, then you're gonna learn right now in terms of the benefits of turmeric. So I do have some posts on this and some of the research benefits of turmeric. So which of the following describe the benefits of turmeric? Is everybody ready? Please put your answers into the comment section right now. Let's see how everybody does on this. And thank you for everybody who is here today. Thank you, Susan, for the compliments. That's so kind of you. Love having you all here. I see a lot of answers. I'm stumping a lot of people, which is great. This is kind of fun, actually. Yes. Okay. A lot of you have it correct. Yes. The one that we hear about the most is probably one of the ones that you're answering. But yes, okay, we have a lot of new people here. So thank you for sharing, Laro CV0. Thank you for sharing today's live. It's great to have you here. All my new followers as well. Thank you for hitting that follow button, and thank you for subscribing. Okay, so everybody have their answer in? Okay, so we know that turmeric is a powerful anti-inflammatory. A lot of you put this, Diva Organic. I see that, and Joyce as well. 72 Gloria, Calm Archery. A lot of people have Debbie as well. You have Jennifer, thank you for sharing today's live. I see that. Okay, so yes, it is. We know turmeric super powerful anti-inflammatory. Now, another research benefit is that super antioxidant benefits. All right? As well as, so this is great for beauty, this is great for cell protection, liver and gallbladder stimulant, yes, it does this, so great for fatty liver. So turmeric is amazing it's one of the only things that actually has some research behind it for actually helping fatty liver. And you know, I've talked to people who have seen improvements in terms of being able to actually decrease their high liver enzyme scores with taking turmeric, but it's got to, in my opinion, have a high turmeric content as well. So not just the turmeric powder and not just using the root in your smoothies. It usually needs to be actually in supplement form with those high curcuminoids, of course, which are important. So yes, does stimulate liver and gallbladder health. Is, yes, a brain stimulant as well. So yeah, helping with brain power. And here we go. Yes, of course, the answer was E, all of the above. So whoever said E, you got that right. Good job, everyone. And thanks for participating. I think we love the multiple choice, don't we? Because it's a great way to learn. All right, so continue with, what are some of the best herbal medicines for sleep? And we will be having our final quiz question coming up, so stay tuned for that. You can win a prize. All right, so some of the things that we know in terms of conventional ways of treating sleep disorders, anxiety, is that unfortunately conventional medicines and pharmaceuticals can be habit forming. They can have a hangover effect. Well, that's why I love using herbal medicines with some of the same benefits and attributes of being able to relieve that stress response, helping to induce sleep in a natural way, but without the side effects, without having that habit forming effect. And let's go through some of my very favorite herbal medicines. I happen to have them here in dried form. Here's the first one. This is called number 1, valerian. So valerian is known to relieve nervousness. It's known as a natural sleep aid. Taken at the right dosage actually has such a great induction of good restful sleep without that hangover effect. Now, if you take the wrong type of valerian, you take too much of it, you can feel a little bit groggy in the morning. So that's why taking the right dosage of this becomes very important. Okay, so number 1 is valerian. Number 2 is skullcap. Now, skullcap also helps to relieve and relax the nervous system. So for any type of anxiety or stress response that's happening, irritability, as that's related to being stressed out all the time as well. And this can be related in menopause. So for the ladies out there with the changing hormones, the skullcap is a fantastic herbal medicine. You can see behind me as well for the spelling of these. Amazing, amazing. I actually like to take these all in combination when we get to all 4 of them. But it's a great way to induce that natural relaxing effect, and when taken in a little bit higher dosage can induce that great night's sleep. Okay, as well as another one, passion flower. So passion flower helps with balancing the moods, and it is helping to balance out the nervous system as well. Helps with addiction types of things like to nicotine and drug withdrawal symptoms. That can be, and some of the research shows that this can really be effective, because part of getting off of cigarettes or nicotine or anything really, caffeine, since we learned about the caffeine problem and our sleep, can be very difficult, and then you get stressed out about it. So this is where the passion flower can be really helpful, all right? As well as the last one, lemon balm. So lemon balm induces that great night's sleep. Great for the person who has a nervous stomach. So if you have a big presentation coming up, or the kids, new situations, going off to school today, yay, for all the moms out there, woohoo, give me a high five. If you're in that situation as well, which is amazing, but this is something that's important because the lemon balm helps to sort of ease the stomach and that nervousness in the gut when your nervous system is reacting and you have to run to the washroom because you're like, oh yeah, I'm so nervous, I have to use the washroom. So here we can see what these herbal medicines look like in their pure form when they're fresh. I was showing you the dried version, of course, but here you can see valerian, skullcap, passion flower, which is a beautiful flower, and the lemon balm. So those in combination can be really helpful for stress, really helpful for sleep as well. These are my favorites. And like I said, I like to take them in combination with one another. It's so great to have you all here. Thank you for tuning in today. Roberto is asking about testosterone. That's something that we actually talked about with pregnenolone steel. So actually taking a testosterone supplement is usually like in taking a whatever they call bioidentical testosterone, not something that I recommend. There are some ways to actually naturally balance out your testosterone levels. Saw palmetto is one of those things that we've talked about, really balancing out your leptin levels and the leptin resistance, and that pregnenolone steal syndrome becomes very, very important. And that's what, if you're just tuning in now, Roberto, maybe you missed that at the beginning, we can maybe circle back to that. Okay, I do want to go into the beauty set now, and I'm going to share some tips for healthy, strong hair. And this is something that, you know, I've been able to help a lot of people with, both men and women, in terms of, you know, doing things naturally, because there's a lot of unnatural things that you can do. So whether it is some of the lotions and the shampoos out there that can have some really negative effects on your nervous system and cause headaches and things, I won't mention what they are, but you probably know what they are in terms of those chemical versions of some of those, you know, hair stimulating shampoos. So, and I've seen some really, you know, firsthand, some really harsh side effects of taking and using those on the head. So I always believe that whenever you can nourish yourself from the inside out, and your hair is kind of something like that your body doesn't put a priority on. Your body puts priority on your internal organs, like your heart, your kidneys, your liver, your skin, as your outer barrier. The hair, the nails, not so much a priority in terms of longevity, not in terms of, you know, being able to stay healthy. But of course, we all love to have healthy looking hair. It's a sign of good health because it's sort of extraneous to some of the things that are more important to the body. So let's go through my tips now. What can we do to have long and healthy hair, which is not just about the length and the volume of the hair, it's the actual strength of the hair as well, so it won't be breaking. Number one, if you're new here, this is going to be maybe something you haven't heard before, but I talk a lot about natural sunlight exposure. And we know that, and this is an offshoot now of all of these red lights that people are using on their hair to stimulate hair growth. And a lot of companies are capitalizing on the fact that the sunlight is something that is so important for hair growth, amongst so many other things. And this is something that I've written about in my new book, which is due to launch very soon. I'm so excited. Make sure you are following and you get on our list so that we can notify you. We're going to be doing a lot of fun things and signed copies of the book when that comes out. So special little prizes and things for people that are following and have followed for a while. Okay, I know who you are. A lot of your names become very familiar to me. So yeah, we're going to have some great promotions going on with my new book coming out in the early new year. All right, so be ready for that. Okay, so and I talk a lot about sunlight and why it's so important for our overall health. Great for hair growth as well, especially the red light, the infrared. The far infrared from the sun is known to help, and the red light is present all day in natural sunlight exposure in that full spectrum light from the sun. Okay, so just being outside, take your hat off. Guys, I know if you're losing your hair, you're wearing a hat. No, you got to take your hat off, expose your head to that natural sunlight. For the ladies as well, you may be putting a hat on to cover your head for protecting your face from all of that sunlight. We need to do it in a healthy way, but getting natural sunlight exposure becomes very important. Okay, tip number 2, of course, is to wash your hair properly. So this whole thing went around social media about, oh, just wash your hair once a week. It's better for the oils on your, well, I believe that the total opposite is the truth. Okay, so washing your hair, there's something called DHT that can actually build up on your scalp, dihydrotestosterone, and it will shut down your hair growth. We don't want that. We want to be washing that away, and this becomes very important. So whenever you're getting sweaty, washing maybe once a day, depending on what's happening in terms of your, you know, exercise routines and your sweating. If you're in a hot environment, at least once a day in those types of situations, maybe every other day, but make sure that you are washing and you're actually washing properly. I'm going to do a video on how to wash your hair properly because most people, I think, are doing it wrong. All right, so that's going to come up. Maybe we can do that next week because it ties into this week. So washing your hair properly. Okay, number 3 is some heat stress is not a bad thing. So that's another thing that sort of went around the internet. This said, oh my goodness, like if I'm using so many hot tools on my head, you try not to do that. And then there were all these sleeping curls things for the ladies that you put these devices in at nighttime. And let's be honest, okay, put a 1 in the comments if you've tried all of these things, thinking that the heat stress and using a bit of heat stress or the blow dryer was a bad Supernova, you agree as a hairstylist? Thank you for saying that. Yes, exactly. All right, you can't see the list. I'll move out of the way. So yeah, so a little bit of heat stress is a good thing. I'm not saying to fry your hair and to straighten it every day with the straighteners, but a little bit of blow drying after you've washed it, not a bad thing, because that becomes very important to stimulate. A little bit of stress is good in our lives. It stimulates growth in different ways, and that's from a psycho-spiritual perspective as well. A little bit of stress is good. Okay, number 4 is, of course, more protein. You have to ensure that you're eating enough protein. A lot of people are protein deficient. You think that maybe you're eating protein in your diet, you're not necessarily absorbing it. So getting a high quality protein into your daily diet routine becomes very important. And for so many people that you just know that you don't eat enough protein, period, then maybe a high quality protein powder may be something that can be really helpful for your hair growth. Especially the one that I take is a functional protein, so it's very reparative to the gut and for leaky gut syndrome, and it ensures that you get that proper absorption, being a whey isolate. So you don't want your whey protein powders, if you're going to go the whey route, with whey protein powder, you're going to make sure that it's a whey isolate, okay? Pure isolate, not a concentrate, because that can cause some digestive issues. 100% isolate, okay, for your whey protein. And number 5, my favorite, woohoo, is a grass-fed collagen, and a hydrolyzed collagen, meaning that it's already sort of pre-digested for you. It's really easy on digestion, and grass-fed becomes very important to make sure that it's low in deuterium. We know that deuterium, if you've heard me talk about deuterium. If you don't know what that is, you can put a 2 in the comments. It's something that we can continue that conversation, but you can check out some of my other videos on deuterium and why that's a problem in terms of our health. But deuterium is bad for hair growth as well. So a grass-fed collagen is going to be and do wonders. And this is where I've seen the most dramatic changes for my own hair. Not really, actively working on my hair, but started taking collagen for the beauty benefits and saw the most dramatic changes in my hair growth. I mean, I have to have my hair cut all the time, which is amazing. All right. Okay, so here we go. So sunlight, again, as a recap for our healthy hair growth, washing our hair properly, and that's something that we'll maybe review, or I'll show you. I'm going to do a post on that, so make sure you're following to get that, how to wash our hair properly, because like I said, most people I don't think wash their hair properly. Some heat stress is okay, actually probably stimulating to the hair follicles for hair growth, protein, and of course, grass-fed collagen. All right, there you go. Let's go to quiz question number 3. Okay, remember everybody that we're playing for the stress and sleep formula from our great friends at VitaTree Nutritionals Whole Food Vitamins, and they are the sponsor of our show. Okay, is everybody ready? Quiz question number 3? Yes? All right, here we go. Let's go. Name a herbal medicine that helps with stress and sleep. I mentioned 4 of them. Hey, if you can give me all 4, fantastic. Give me as many as you can. All right, good luck, everyone. And thanks for the follows. I see that coming in. Thank you so much and Roman shared today's live. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, we've got about 12 seconds left. All right, 5 seconds left. Everybody getting in some answers? Oh my goodness, user 54321. I think had every answer. Wow. Mei Lee, I love that. Mo as well. Good job, everyone. Okay, did everybody get their answers in? Yes, I think so. A lot of you got at least one. Daisy, I like that passion fruit. Close. Okay, let's review them really quickly. All right, here we go. So valerian, these are the ones that I talked about. So valerian, skullcap, passion flower, and lemon balm, my favorite herbal medicines for both stress issues, but for sleep issues as well. And hey, if you do have more questions, I can't get to everybody's questions today, right now, during the live show, please tune in tomorrow. And if you have questions about anything that we talked about today, I will be addressing them tomorrow. So on Wednesdays, it's a little bit different time slot. So it's at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. So a few hours later in the afternoon on Wednesdays, 1 p.m. tomorrow. Please tune in and I'll answer your questions. And we might go off script a little bit tomorrow as well. So if you've got some health questions, I'll do my best to answer them tomorrow. Okay? So that is amazing, amazing. Thank you to everybody who's tuning in today. It's so great to have you. We talked about pregnenolone steal syndrome, how this is related to low testosterone. I know one of those questions was coming in today, as well as low estrogen, progesterone. So around perimenopause, this becomes very important, how that's related to thyroid health as well, and cortisol levels, so stress and sleep, anxiety, nervousness. We covered all of that today. We also went through some hair growth tips. I talked about the fake pumpkin spice latte, and guess what? Next week, I'm gonna share my recipe for a healthy pumpkin spice latte. So put some pumpkins. I wanna see, because it's not everybody's thing. Apparently, and this is what Melinda, my producer, told me, that people are on one side of the fence or completely on the other side of the fence. There's no middle road for pumpkin spice lattes. So please put some pumpkin, say that 5 times fast, pumpkin emojis into your comments right now. I want to see who's on board. Jennifer, you love, yeah, okay. And Yvonne, okay, I see Kathy, there's lots of pumpkins. And these are all jack-o'-lanterns. They don't have a regular pumpkin. That's so funny that it's completely gone towards the whole Halloween thing. Jennifer, yeah, okay, awesome. Jennifer's got a ton of pumpkins happening here. JJ Sweet Pop, yes, okay, good. Yes, okay, good. And that is much like my recipe, which I'm going to be talking about, Riley. All right, good, good, good. Okay, so that's great. So we will be doing that next week. I'll be making a healthy pumpkin spice latte. And for those of you who haven't yet tried a healthy one, maybe you think you don't like pumpkin spice latte because of all the junk in there. But yeah, if we make a healthy one, you might just like it. So make sure you tune in next week for the recipe of that. And we'll be making that live in the studio, which will be fantastic. Now, if you do have questions, remember, tune in tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Q&A, and of course on Tuesday, so next week Tuesday, again at 11 a.m. if you just tuned in now, at 11 a.m. This is something that we do every week, the Doctor Janine Show, and we go through different topics every week. It was so great to have you all here today. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you check out all of my other content that's posted every day. Check out all my podcasts as well. Remember, my book is coming out very soon, so make sure that you are subscribed so that you get all the notifications about our launches for all new things happening. Very exciting. Okay, have a great day, everyone. It's great to see you, and we'll see you next time.